Thanks, George. Thank you so much, and it's amazing to see so many close friends and family and supporters. It's been an amazing journey the past 3 years, with Wish of a Lifetime. And the one thing that connects us all here tonight is our collective love for our grandparents and our parents. And this is my grandma. This is my grandma Donna, who's here tonight. Right there. And I'm the youngest of 3 kids, and growing up in Loveland, Colorado, we didn't have to go far to see and visit my grandmother because my parents and my brother and sister, all we had to do was walk downstairs because that's where she lived. And for the first 19 years of my life, being raised as a young child through adolescence, I was able to live in a household with the love of a grandmother, and that was a blessing that I can never describe. And at 85 years young, my grandmother has chosen to live high in the Rocky Mountains of Keystone, Colorado. And when it's snowing 2 feet on the ground, I call her and she says, "Oh, it's just so beautiful up here. It's God's country." And I'm thinking to myself, man, that's too cold for me. She's 85. My ski days are behind me. And she's a big inspiration in my life. And this is my grandfather. This is Jerry. This is my dad's dad. And I'm named after Jerry. And he's one of my most favorite people in this entire world. And when I started skiing when I was 3 years old, I was the youngest, and my brother and sister went off with my mom and dad, and they were on the blues and the blacks, and I went with my grandfather, which was fine by me because, Mom, you were a health food nut. You know, no offense, it worked out, but we didn't. we couldn't have candy bars in the house or sweets, or our dessert was crushed ice and orange juice. True story. My grandfather was very different. He loved candy. So we'd go up skiing, and he would just pile in these little miniature candy bars, Snickers and Twix. And I'd be 3 years old, and we'd be on the bunny slopes. And I'd get off the chairlift, and he'd look at me and say, "All right, Jeremy, go get it." And I would swoop down, and I'd be skiing with my helmet on. And I'd get these candy bars, and I'd be like a puppy dog just chasing treats. Needless to say, my love for skiing started young with my grandfather. And I'm going to fast forward now in my life 14 years. Once my grandfather was done throwing treats, my dad took over and was my football coach and ski coach, and the reason I was able to reach those levels. And my mom was the one that was driving me all around the state at crazy hours at the times, making sure I get to the competitions to do my schoolwork. But 14 years later, I was a member of the United States ski team, and it was in this region of the world that changed my life forever. It was when I was traveling to one of my first World Cups outside the United States, and it was in Japan. And we got to Japan, and I was on this bus, and if anybody's been over there, you know personal space doesn't really mean what it means here. They'll get right up to you, and it's kind of weird. But the bus was packed. I mean, it was just a sold-out bus. And I was towards the back, and we were driving through Tokyo, and we stopped. And I saw this probably 80-ish or 90-year-old woman start to board the bus. And I started thinking to myself, where is she going to sit? And as she started walking on the bus, I saw everybody jump out of their seats in this like orchestra of a movement and help her onto the bus and put her in her seat and make sure she was taken care of. And that bus did not move until she was taken care of. And I was 17, and I love my grandparents, and I wanted them to have the same kind of respect. And I had never seen something like this in my life. And as I started traveling throughout the country with the ski team, I went to other areas of the world, and I saw the same types of things happening. Tremendous respect to the older generation, that not only gave us all life, but paved the roads we drive on, and in this country got us through World War II and the Great Depression, all the amazing things that they've done. And I would travel throughout Asia and saw it in Korea, and I saw it throughout even Scandinavia, places that you wouldn't necessarily think, but Finland and Norway, and all throughout Europe, France and Spain. And after about 7 years of traveling around and seeing these things, I just couldn't ignore it anymore. And on January 8th, I started Wish of a Lifetime. And really what I wanted to do is I wanted to build a bridge across the Atlantic and across the Pacific from these countries that I had experienced these things that I'd never seen before, and build a bridge to the United States and immerse our country and our culture and introduce this difference for the young kids, for my generation, for the boomers, and for the greatest generation. And I wanted to do it by granting lifelong wishes to 80, 90, and 100-year-old people. And I had no idea if it was going to be impactful or if it would impact their life, and I had no idea what the wishes were going to be. There's not a good data set to study in this country other than the amazing work that Make-A-Wish does, and they're here tonight, and their CEO is here tonight, and I so appreciate what they do. But I was fairly certain that most 90-year-olds' wish is not to go to Disney World. So I had to learn what these wishes were going to be. And Laura Wilt, who is here tonight, and she serves on our board of directors, emailed me probably 2 months after I started Wish of a Lifetime. And she said, I love what you're doing. I work at Volunteers of America, the VOA, the Foster Grandparents Program. And she said, why don't you come down and talk to some of our foster grandparents so you can collect and see what types of wishes they would want. And I said, that's a great idea. So I went down to VOA, and I met Nancy Tarpon. And Nancy, who's also here tonight at Laura's table, I walked into a room, and Nancy had no idea who I was. She had no idea why I was there or what I was doing. But she walked in, and she's just the sweetest woman you could ever meet. Really soft-spoken, would never ask for anything. And we started talking about her life. And during that conversation, I said, Nancy, if you could have one thing in this world, what would it be? And she kind of took a pause, and she said, my daughter, Lucille, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer 8 years ago, and I haven't seen her in 10 years. And I don't have the money to go see her, but I talk to her on the phone every day. She lives in Claypool, Arizona. And it hurts me to know that I'm not going to be able to say goodbye to her. It was at that moment that I knew the work that all of us in this room were going to be doing with Wish of a Lifetime was going to have a tremendous impact on people's life. And we went to Claypool, Arizona. This is a picture of us outside a baggage claim in the Phoenix airport, driving up to Claypool. And she spent 3 days with Lucille. And I don't know the English language well enough to accurately describe what that trip did to me. But I can tell you this. At the time, I was training for the 2010 Olympics as a skier, which would have been my third. And I got home, and I called my mom, and I called my dad. And I said, I was just a small part of something I've never experienced in my life. And I saw an amazing reconnection of a family that would have never otherwise existed. And the idea of training 8 hours a day is not where my heart is. It's right here. So I shortly retired, and I started putting all my focus into Wish of a Lifetime. And Bill Tiller was one of our first wish recipients, and he gave us perspective because his wish was so simple. He wrote to us, and he asked for a rug. Not an extravagant rug, not one from any extravagant country, just a rug. Because he was 86 years old and he had diabetes. And he said he would wake up in the morning and he had linoleum floor that would be really cold, and he had poor circulation in his feet. And he would get up and he would step onto the ground, his feet would sting, and he needed a rug there. And when this wish came in, we were still learning so much about what was important. And we almost discounted this wish as not being important enough. And this is one of my favorite pictures that we have ever taken at Wish of a Lifetime, because you can see the joy on Bill's face. And that's Patrick, one of our best volunteer interns and then later staff that we've ever had granting that wish early in the days. And that wish is our constant reminder that sometimes it is the smallest things that make the biggest difference. This is a photo of Milton and I. Milton, who I'm so happy that you're here today, traveling from Ohio. Thanks for coming. This was a wish we granted to 23 World War II vets who wrote to us, and it was their collective wish to see the war monuments that were built in their honor. They'd never seen it their whole life. And we took this amazing journey to Washington, D.C., and Milton, on December 7th, 1941, woke up in his battleship. And he was awoken by the sound of planes flying down the Hawaiian mountains into Pearl Harbor. And he told me these stories about as they started firing on his ships, and all this chaos was going on around him. And one of the bombs, a shrapnel, hit him and blew him into the water and almost took off one of his legs. Milton stayed in the water for 3 hours before he was rescued. And the stories that were told on this trip are priceless. This is Helene Dax, and Helene Dax is a female aviation pioneer because Helene is the first female air traffic controller in the United States of America. And look at that outfit. I can only imagine the first female in the, up there. I don't know. She must have been popular. But her wish was to go fly in a plane. Being an aviation buff, that was her wish of a lifetime. What's so interesting and historic about this photo is that her pilot, Emily Warren, was the first female commercial pilot in the United States of America. And we granted this wish recently with Brookdale, and it was an amazing, amazing collection of 2 pioneers and a lifelong wish granted. Thanks to all of you, this organization has grown really fast. In 2009, we granted 11 amazing wishes. And because those wishes inspired other people and brought a community of people around us, like all of us here today, that next year we granted over 250 wishes. Thanks to you, really. And so far this year, we've granted almost 150 wishes, and we're on pace to hit 400, which is obviously over 1 wish per day. And that's a testament to all of you and our amazing CEO, George Bogdevich, in the job that he's doing. And we're obsessed with granting wishes. Everybody, from interns to volunteers to our staff. And we're always asking the question, well, how can we make a bigger impact? How can we grant more wishes? And so we had this idea. We had to find an amazing partner, somebody with amazing reach, national reach, that we could grant and be in front of so many more amazing seniors. And we found him. And not only did we find the largest, but we found a collaborator unlike anything I could have ever expected from a for-profit company. Brookdale Senior Living has, as George mentioned, 559 homes in 33 states. They have over 51,000 residents. But what was so surprising to me when I went up to Chicago and met with Sarah Terry, I know there you are, and I went to go say, look, we need a wish generation program in every single one of your homes so we can be in front of all these different seniors. We can grant all these wishes. We can go from 400,000, 10,000, 100. And she got it. She got it because at Brookdale they had the same mission statement as we did, to enrich the lives of the seniors who they serve. And they're a great partner for us as we collaborate in this partnership. But imagine this mold. I mean, imagine going to Walmart and doing a national wish granting program with their greeters and the stories that would create around that and create a marketing. Even bigger, imagine if we partnered with Christine's group in the United Way, who's here tonight, to create national wish chapters across the United States that empowered every single one of us to be a wish granter. We'll find the wish recipient, we'll help schedule it, you grant it. That's how we can take our wish from 400 to 100,000 and even beyond. And it's so important to remember that wishes are not singular, they're viral. They affect and inspire communities and states and countries. And as we've been through this process now 3 years, we started receiving feedback from people that we were granting their wishes that honestly surprised us. We had no idea what was happening. We started seeing Wish of a Lifetime in eulogies, people that lived 80, 90 years that said in lieu of sending flowers, send donation to Wish of a Lifetime. We heard from caregivers and family members that said sometimes 18 months post-wish that the wish recipient is more engaged, is happier, is healthier. And we were so perplexed by what was going on, we wanted to study it so we could define what was happening. And so we started a wish impact study. And so we took all of our wish recipients and we sent them a follow-up form with a lot of data points. And we started collecting these data points, and we're really early in this study, but the results are amazing. And we're talking to Cornell University to take this study over to really help us understand it, because some of these measurements we just don't get. 80% of them, and remember, sometimes this is 2.5 years post their wish, 80% of them said the quality of life improved. 87% of them said they were happier because of the lifelong wish that they were able to grant. This is the one that really perplexes us. 2/3 said they were healthier. Is it possible that the mind, when fulfilled and engaged, can create the body to be more happy, be happier or healthier? Outlook improved 84%, and purpose improved 80%. And I hope by next time this year, we'll have some more data, amazing data around this to share with you all. This is a global map of our world today, and the countries shaded in green have a population of 20% or more that are over the age of 65. And right around the time that I'm turning 65 and my generation's turning 65, the world will look a lot different. Well, the good news is we're all living longer. And thanks to modern science and health and nutrition, the average lifespan of a child born in 2007 is 30 years longer than that of somebody born in 1900. In 1990, we had 34,000 centenarians living here in the United States. That number has doubled. But it's not always the length of one's life that defines it. It's the purpose. It's the engagement. It's the people around them. It's the love that they feel. And Wish of a Lifetime is making the greatest generation feel more love, cared for, and purpose, and the work that we're all doing. And while we're doing all that work, we're inspiring younger people around them to change their behavior. And that's how social change can take place. Inspiring everyday, normal individuals to work together and create change over time. And I want to challenge everybody here tonight to get more involved with Wish of a Lifetime, because we are in a very passionate pursuit in what we're doing, and we're going to make a huge difference, and we're just scraping the surface of where we're going. But I also encourage you to be cognizant in your own life that sometimes it's the smallest things, a compliment, a smile, a conversation that means so much. And each one of those acts is a ripple in a continuous ocean. And can you imagine the impact of millions of little ripples? On behalf of our board of directors, our senior board of directors, our amazing and dedicated staff, interns, and volunteers, and each and every single one of you here tonight, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for allowing us to continue our passionate pursuit to change the way we view the beautiful and wonderful aging individuals in this country. Thank you so much.